We are so ready to move into Shabbat together, a time to take a breath, to breathe in, to breathe out, to connect with people that we know and some folks that we don't know, to maybe find a moment of inspiration and even a little bit of joy. So we are welcoming you all to our service. Our very first prayer will be up on our screens. You can follow along, and Holly is going to lead us.
Elechem dalibi, 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 Elechem dalibi. Kusana be'anati dalam, Kusana be'anati dalam, Kusana be'anati dalam, Kusana be'anati dalam. Elechem dalibi, Elechem dalibi.
Beautiful. So we are going to turn now to page 120. Lighting our Shabbat candles brings light into our lives, light into our homes, and we have some special friends who are going to join us. There you are. If you folks would unmute yourselves. I like the cover for the wine. I kind of dig that. So
you like the glass?
We'll talk later. 100 and page 120. Let's bring some light into our lives.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Beautiful. Let's all turn the page 123 with the candles, the lights of Shabbat. Let's continue with our Kiddush. 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kadsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehillah lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki vanu v'charta miotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim b'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
L'chaim.
Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. L'chaim to you, friends. Thanks so much for being with us, for leading with us, for sharing a little Shabbat with us. We're really delighted you are here. Let us all move to Lechadodi and celebrate the coming of the Sabbath bride. Page 138, 139. We continue with the first 5 stanzas. After the 5th one, we will jump to the very last one. Boi the Shalom, come with peace, our Sabbath queen.
We need our chips.
Come with peace, our Sabbath queen. And then we will welcome the angels who follow after.
So this is call and response. Repeat after me during these words of the chorus. Lecha Dodi, your turn. Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Together we sing. V'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, V'shemo tiferet v'litila, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Likra lechu v'nelcha, ki hi la'bracha, erosh mikedem nesucha. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Kabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Migdash melech bir melucha, kumitei mitoch havecha, ralach shevet emekabacha, vehu yachamol alaychem la. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Hidnali me'afar kumi, Bivshi bigdei tifatechami, Ayad ben Yishai beit halachi, korva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat, Nikabela. Hitoreni, Hitoreni, Ki va'orech kumi ori, Uri, Uri, Shir Adonai alayich nigla lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela 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 Boi v'shalom aterabala Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola Toch emunei ham segula Boi chala lecha dodi Likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi Likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Malachei HaShalom Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Malachei HaShalom Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela
I really love how we welcome the Sabbath with a prayer of envisioning Shabbat as a queen or as a bride and actually bringing Shabbat into our homes, bringing the Sabbath into our lives. And then right afterwards, the message of those angels, and we wish to those angels, Shalom Aleichem. Let's see. No, that wasn't it. I was wondering how the transcript was going to manage my Hebrew.
Not well.
Not well. We welcome those angels and we say shalom. Shalom unto you. Angels from on high. So we bring Shabbat into our homes, Shabbat into our lives, and we welcome messengers sent by God. Those that are going to be close and maybe giving a little strength, literally or metaphorically, giving us a little strength to carry on. We can't just start our prayers. We need to figure out how we're going to be present for ourselves. And then we get to enter into prayer. So let's open those gates with Baruch Hu.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Our next prayer, to be intentional and to open ourselves up for possibility, will also be on your screen.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom alevavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'vetecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ugshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uchtavtam al mezuzah beitecha uv'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'eloheichem ani Adonai Eloheichem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Eloheichem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
On page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and your love. From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. So let us continue to work for the day when all of the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, nora tehilot, osei fele, nora tehilot, osei fele. Malchutecha, ma'uvanecha, lokei hayam, לפני משה, זה האלי, אנו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
And we are going to share one of our slides, another prayer of intentionality, of guiding our steps.
Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Help me make each day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Help me make each day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha.
In a celebration of Shabbat, in trying to be intentional, some of these prayers, some of these melodies, we ask them to help us. And in our prayer book, there is a poem that is included. It's from Rabbi Heschel, and we have shared it before. It's on page 163. It leads right into Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, and that in and of itself is the ultimate kavanah. It wasn't part of our tefillah prayers once upon a time. The part that just says, God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. There's an idea of sometimes we need to pray that we're going to be open and able and vulnerable enough and present enough to actually pray. And Rabbi Heschel, in his poem, kind of helps us get a sense of that. How does Shabbat enter our lives? So another newer melody from our friend Dan, who was with us just a few weeks ago.
A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind, joy in the trees. Shabbat has arrived in the world. It's gathering a song in the silence of the night, and eternity utters a day. Eternity utters a day. Na 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 na. Adonai Sefatai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai Sefatai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Na 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 na.
We continue on page 166.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanara El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Neihem Leman Shemo Ba'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiva Ruach Umarit HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Samech Noflim Ve'Rovei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayim Emunato Lishenei Avar Michamocha Baal Gevurot Umito Meloch Melech Memit Umechaya Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Ata L'Hachayot HaKol Baruch atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kdoshim B'chol Yom Yahalelucha Selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh.
We can return to our seats. 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers, and there may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. Let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yira na'avod. Shalom Rav is on page 178, a prayer for peace.
Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki Atahu Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'einecha livarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam.
Let's take some time for our own private prayer. You can follow along in the Siddur on 179 through 181. Choose a reading to reflect upon, or just take some time for your own personal prayer and your own silent meditations.
עושה שלום במרמה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרמה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
After our prayers for peace, we turn to prayer for healing. And for those of you that have a Siddur, you can turn in the prayer book to page 371 in the middle of the page. In the chat, I shared a link for our Misha Berach list, our list of friends and family members who are in need of healing and care and strength and hope from us. And as we always do, if we were in person, we'd be going around the room and sharing all of these names. But here in our Zoom service, we invite you, if you choose, to share the names of those whom you are thinking of and put them in the chat. We'll join you in your prayers for strength for all of these people, those who are listed here, all of these people that are listed here, as well as for those that we're just saying in our own spaces, in our own hearts, in the middle of 371, and we'll share the words too.
Mishelech Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leilotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us sing Amen. Mishelech Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us sing Amen. And let us sing Amen.
We are starting the next Torah portion this Shabbat. And for these times, there was something that jumped out at me that usually I'm happy to skip over. And before I share these words, I want to acknowledge that even on Zoom, we are working so hard to try and create a sense of community. Jessica is a greeter again, and we're glad that she is here and making connections, and we have other friends who are posting, the links for our prayer book and the pages. Neil and Jules often will share where we are in these prayer books. We've recently tried to bring a little uplift with other kind of art. And yes, even the closed captioning, which I am not doing. It is automated, so I am talking slowly like a robot. And I've been turning it on and off. But it's all our efforts to bring a message, share some joy, a little hope, a little strength, and a sense of community. And in a very strange passage I'm going to share with you, even with a little laughter perhaps, I think we can walk away this Shabbat with a sense of where we need to go. Because there's a lot of people talking about where we need to go right now. So in the Torah, we are in the midst of learning about all of the different plagues that affect the Egyptians. And we see the nine plagues at first, and then there's a pause. There's some information that we learn about actually eating the Pesach. Pesach is the traditional term, the Hebrew term for the Passover offering. It's the Paschal lamb. That's called Pesach. And in the midst of these directions of how do you eat it and when do you eat it and under what conditions we eat it, it says in Exodus chapter 12, verse 11, it says, "This is how you shall eat it. Your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, and your staff in your hand." I have never given a sermon on this verse before. And for a lot of people, you might wonder, what does it mean? I'm going to say it again. You need to do 3 things before you can start roasting this Paschal lamb. Your loins have to be girded. If you're under 18 and need an explanation of loins, you can write to somebody else, not me. If you need to have sandals on your feet and to have a staff in your hand, which in Boulder we call walking sticks, right? Now, most people don't know what it means to gird their loins. It's an expression we see a lot in the whole Hebrew Bible. And then later on as well, even in Christian tradition, there's going to be this reference, hiking sticks, yes. There's going to be this reference to what does it mean to gird your loins? Well, I have a video to explain what this is. So I'm going to share my screen. If you will wait 1 minute as I prepare, here it is. This is going to be a 60-second video of what it means to gird your loins.
When he wanted to accomplish something difficult, these limitations led to the phrase, "Gird up your loins," or "Gird up your loincloth." First, a man would reach between his legs and grab the back side of his robe and pull it upward toward his waist. Next, the robe would be tucked into the man's belt, securing it. After a man would gird up his loins, he would have better mobility, like squatting to lift, running in place, kicking a ball, and standing in a wide stance defensive posture. Seeing a man who has girded up his loins was a common sight in the ancient world. Although able to move about with greater freedom, he looked ridiculous, as if he were wearing a diaper. This gave way to what we refer to as pants.
I confess, I never would have ever considered sharing that in services ever before being relinquished to Zoom. If you're offended, you should forgive me. If you enjoy it, well, I'd be glad. But now that you know what it actually looks like, we have something serious to say. In the Torah, they hiked up these clothes because they were ready to leave. They were on their way out. They needed to leave Egypt, and there was still one more plague to take place, the 10th plague, that plague of the death of the firstborn. So they had to hike up their clothes, and their freedom was imminent. And that's why whenever you go to war, or you need to, whenever you go, that's a great impression. Thank you so much. I'm responding to the chat. Whether you go to war or if you go to, you have a job to do, it is often said you need to gird your loins. They needed to get going. So they hiked up this long nightshirt-like garment. They tightened them with a sash. They put on their sandals. Since most of the time they would go barefoot. Sandals was a luxury. Most of them didn't wear sandals every day. And then they got these walking poles, right? So they needed to be ready. Why? They were going on their journey to the promised land. And so am I today. So are we today. So it's time to gird your loins, put on your sandals, and it's time to get that staff, that rod, and go forward on your journey. Our residents of our community, our country, and our planet have been through a lot. In recent days, weeks, certainly many months. With new leadership is new opportunities, to be sure, but that does not mean that we stop our work for justice. It does not mean that we don't spotlight the cries of the suffering. It does not mean we turn our backs and no longer communicate with our neighbors. No, in fact, it's the opposite. And while it's not time to celebrate Passover quite yet, today we need to enter this new year with our loins girded, with your sandals on your feet and your staff in your hand, ready to march forward toward a time of redemption. So here's a few questions for you. I'm going to pause after each question. And I invite you to respond in the chat. I do. If your loins are girded and you have to hitch up your clothes so that they don't drag and it doesn't slow down your movements, and you saw how that happened, what drags us down these days? What drags you down? Think for a minute. Whether you share it in the chat or not, it's up to you, but what drags you down? Can you identify it? What drags us down as a community? You can see these things in the chat, all different kinds of things that people are writing, whether it's our own internal issues, or it's being alone and isolated, or the behavior of other people in personal, really personal, hurtful ways. So I have a second question. Remember, it said to put your sandals on because most people were barefoot most of the time. The sandals protect us from physical harm. What protects you? What do you use for protection so that you can perhaps feel dragged down less? Protection. What is it that functions in our lives like the sandals for those ancient Israelites? Put them all in the chat. And I see family and friends. I see gratitude. There's lots of things that can be and are a part of our lives and our worlds. So then think of the staff. There's the loins that are girded, the sandals on your feet, and the staff, your walking stick. Who or what can you lean on? Who or what can you lean on? What do you use to steady yourself? How is it that something can keep you grounded? I see lots of comments about faith in Torah. Yay, team. And I see family and loved ones. I think I just saw Stephen Colbert. So, like me, some of you rely on humor. There was somebody's relative when I felt that I went a little too far in my joking at services, wrote a beautiful letter to Holly and to myself that taught me about sacred laughter. So we have laughter and partners and loves and friends and Netflix, it seems. We have lots of things to keep us grounded. That's what I'm going to ask of us this Shabbat. How do we prepare for an exodus and a moment of redemption? Can we go with our loins girded and sandals on our feet and that walking staff? Can you take it with us? Can we make a difference? Can we journey with dignity and with purpose and with authenticity and integrity together? Left wing, right wing, together. One congregation, an open tent, like our sanctuary that we miss. How can we move forward and not forget our task as free people? We are free in order to serve, to do, to care, to stand up, to make a difference. That's why we're here. Friends, you all go from strength to strength. Let's move to our conclusion, 586 at the bottom of the page for Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהב, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמהו, שכינתו זו ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום, והשבות האלה לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ, מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. If you are observing a yahrzeit or in a period of mourning, we invite you to share the name in the chat the way we have been. We welcome you to let us know whom you are remembering. If you want to say a message, who this person was to you, what you've learned, the relationship, how they helped you to walk in the world, whatever it might be, or nothing at all, we encourage you to do so. We're going to join you in these thoughts. Think of those who have departed from this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, those we have lost to COVID-19, so many, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and of every nation whose lives have been a blessing to all of humanity. We remember them. We remember love and loss, and we praise God's name. During the period of Shloshim, those first 30 days, we're going to remember Bob Korngold, the father of Rabbi Jamie Korngold. Rabbi Jamie's been an important part of our Boulder County Jewish community, and she just lost her father. And actually, there's a meal train set up, and if you're interested in helping, send me a note and I will send you the link. We remember Ron Hoffman, the uncle of Flori Muller. Remember our dear friend and congregant Judy Steuben. We remember Aida Belansky, the mother of Elaine Belansky. and another one of our congregants for many years, Stanley Yokel. Those yahrzeits we recall for the week that has passed: Charles Hablow, Morris Hurwitz, Benjamin Favius, Bernice Simon, Fanny Kellner, Rose Katzeff, Loretta Borstein, Alec Brown, Harry Harris, Phyllis Brown, Lucille Smolins, Abraham Harry Schneider, Charles Hablow, Barbara Kaplan, Ronald Brill, Clara Elovich, Brenda Clearman, Stephen Ross, Bunny Jackson, Bernie Judas, Helen Eliana Abrams, Irene Levy, Betty Paisner, Myrtle Gutman, Ray Kassoff, Rose Glass, Beatrice Weber, Randolph Traeger, Abraham Browdy, Clara Elovich, Dorothy Mendel, Dorothy Wollens Block, Irving Moss, Jason Corey Strauss, Pauline Mendel. Kaddish is on page 598. We invite you to read together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Bialma divrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'meru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam olmei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemei D'Kudesha Berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush birchata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'elma v'miru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chaim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'miru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu, Ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel, v'yimeru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to the bereaved here and everywhere. Let's all say Amen. We would like to share a couple of things with you very briefly. First of all, in those emails, we're going to encourage you as members of a community, a sacred community, just as we're moving into a whole springtime when our students who become B'nai Mitzvah and still are celebrating on Zoom instead of how they all would have imagined. When you get those emails and it says, send a little note to Joey's for his bar mitzvah or any of the other kids, we hope you take 10 seconds and let them know that our congregation cares. That's my first announcement. A second one is we need some volunteers. Purim is coming and we are committed as ever to have a glorious celebration. Holly is at work with her team to make something fun and dynamic, safe and online. And instead of sending out all of these little bags that we usually do, we're going to be making contributions to Bridge House and EFA, two organizations in town that support some of the most vulnerable individuals and families in our community. We're going to make a contribution in honor of all of the members of our congregation, sending it to those two organizations. But we're still going to be sending out cards, little Purim note cards to all of our congregants, every single one of you. We are asking for volunteers who might take 5 or 20 of these cards and write a note, a personal note, draw a picture, paste something fun, sweet, lovely, appropriate. And then we're going to give you stamped and addressed envelopes that you could just put them in the mail so that everybody, all 575 folks, households, are going to receive a message from one another. So we hope that you will join us. There is a website where you can make an act of tzedakah if you choose. And on the same link, you are able, and on this same link in the chat, you are able to sign up to volunteer. So you can help us with those donations. You can sponsor the idea you can sponsor this initiative and support the congregation as well. And we can make these personal send-offs and cards. And the last thing I want to say, we still have all of these regular connections. We know it's hard. And we know that even with some people, some of you getting the vaccine, things aren't going to go back to normal so quickly. So we have Havdalah Saturday nights at 5:30. It's a 15-minute little get-together. If you have never seen Havdalah, come check it out. We have different people leading. We still have Har HaShem Connects, drop-in topics for discussion and check-ins with one another on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays of every week. We have all of the different kinds of classes that are in the calendar. February is going to be an awareness month where we're going to be focusing on mental health issues and have some storytelling. March, we're going to be joining HaYas with a refugee Shabbat. And there's also, in the not so distant future with Holly, there's going to be a celebration of Jewish music in the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in an evening to remember Debbie Friedman, a great songwriter with many different Jewish musicians. So all of these things are coming out. We are doing our best to try and support some of the needs of our community. And we hope that you will engage in this covenantal relationship and share a little notes on these Purim cards and join us from time to time like tonight. We're glad that you are here. Holly's going to lead us in a closing prayer.
And you have the words in front of you. Esa einai el Hari. Esa einai el Hari. Me'ayin yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo Ezri, me'ayin yavo Ezri. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, maker of heaven and earth. Esa einai El Hari, Esa einai El Hari.
And we wish you a Shabbat Shalom. I need to say one thing. I forgot to mention the idea of the gird your loins and sandals and the walking staff is a seed of wisdom from a colleague, Rabbi Deborah Haken, and needed to put that out there to you. So to all of you, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Happy birthday.
Stay healthy.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom, everyone.
Please say Shabbat Shalom.
Oh.
That was so sweet.
Yes.
Oh. Yes. Yes. Very sweet. They have to bring our baby next time.
You have a baby?
You have a baby?
Our grandchild.
Oh, okay, fine.
Oh.
We have a couple.
Well, there's a sharing policy here. You have to share them.
Oh, I know, right?
Please.
I have to get him here at the right time.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Take good
Shabbat
care of
shalom.
yourselves. Take good care. Stay safe and be well.
You
You all as well.
Shalom.
Shabbat.
Thank you, Rabbi
Thank
Green.
you,
Thank
Rabbi
you,
Green.
Holly.
Thank you.
Love the service.
Thank you all.
Shabbat shalom,
Thanks.
everyone. Thank you so much.
I'm looking forward to the coloring project.
Good, you can color.
I can do more.
You
Okay,
can make pictures in color. That'll be okay.
that's like my favorite pastime, so right up my alley. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom, Barbara and
Shabbat
Mike.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi and Holly.
Thank you.
Shabbat